When you learn, I just want to make sure everybody's awake. Before I start, I also want to thank everybody that's came today to allow us to come out of hiding to be able to speak on these issues that concern all of us. I wish John Page was here today because I'd like to personally thank him for showing everybody that this work that we do in here every single day is worth something. He's an accurate depiction of what we stand for and believe in. Now, as I sat here listening to each one of these men stand before us and express their thoughts about particular areas of concern within our criminal justice system, I got to say I was pretty impressed. And by reading your body language, I think that some of you are also impressed. They systematically identified problems, right? Then they made some personal connections to their own life, and also they made connections to politics. Then after that, then they offered some practical solutions. I found myself being drawn into how well-spoken these men were. Then questions like where did they get this information started playing in my ear. And how credible is the information? What is their level of education? Considering that none of these men have even completed the 10th grade before incarceration. But they all continue to further their education while incarcerated with hopes to achieve a college degree. These things, they connect these men, but one more important thing connects these men. They all have family support. By any rate, I just kept trying to stay focused on the importance of what was being said. I found myself being focused more on the messenger than the message, which brought me to contemplate a certain something that someone told me a little while ago. He said, so the zoo animals are going to attempt to tell the zookeepers how to run the zoo. Now I want to approach this thing realistically. So I considered what he had to say. The comment itself didn't really bother me. But the irony in that statement is when you go to the zoo, you'll see that every animal lives in an adjusted condition, right? A simulated environment with adjusted conditions fixed for their specific needs. And these needs are communicated by the behavior of the animal. Now, I definitely have an issue with this sort of comparison, prisoners and zoo animals. But I know we've all heard worse characterizations. I think we all can agree that the media has helped to distort and take prisoners out of the category of being considered human beings and redefine them as irredeemable and uncivilized, or even worse than that, by how much they cost. And this is why it's so easy to become moved by well-articulated presentations or prison toys. Today we've heard a lot of statistics and percentages and numbers, right? But collectively, what does it all mean? Each man researched these topics and offered their findings in a way that they believed would be able to grab your attention. So they made the connection to money. Money talk is like the new caffeine. When you talk about money in the morning, you get perked up. Talk about money in the afternoon and you stay motivated. And if you talk about money when you don't have none, you're liable to get the checks. Barack Obama did his best with the uncommitted voters when he began to talk about Joe the plumber and spreading the money out, tax breaks and tax cuts. When he spoke on the economy, people perked up, they got focused. Like I was saying, we were presented today with a lot of numbers and statistics and percentages, and they made the connections to money. So we too want you to perk up. We want you to get focused. We want the uncommitted to commit, and we want the committed to continue to organize and move. Now, when I sat down and researched my agenda, I got kind of nervous because the numbers I was looking for wasn't there. I too want you to perk up. I want your attention. So So I continue to dig and search for these numbers. And the more I searched for the numbers, the more I found out that I was becoming obsessed with the numbers themselves. Then I realized that these numbers actually serve a greater purpose. Prisoners are watched, studied, and observed. And these statistical findings is what the policymakers use to determine what they're going to throw the most money at. See, these numbers are being used to inflame the passions and the prejudices of ignorant society to propel them in a direction towards spending massive amount of money that they just don't have to achieve solutions that are too far out of reach. People, numbers and statistics indicate the involvement of money and politics. Money and politics usually means that business is the order of the day. And like the old saying goes, when it's business, it isn't personal. Is that what all this is about? Business? We've just witnessed the poor business practices of our government result in the crash of our economy. If this is business, what can we expect? If we continue to see things in terms of business, then we'll always depend on the numbers or the percentages and the money for a solution. So when we run out of money, then what? No solutions. Give up. Business isn't personal. But now correct me if I'm wrong, but the conditions that surround human existence is personal. Poverty is personal. The lack of quality education is personal. Approximately 2.5 million prisoners in the United States of America is personal. Over 18,000 in Washington State alone is personal. I'm going to take this a step further. They say that 63% of all male prisoners have approximately 2.5 children. So this equates to 3,837,500 children in the United States of America. 28,350 in Washington State alone. This is personal. They have fathers that are being hid behind the steel curtain of what our state calls corrections. This is a personal lie. Public safety and public health is extremely personal. And all the family members who endure the humiliating treatment of being considered criminal by relation is a personal issue. By the most times persons leave the county jails, even first-time offenders, they've been made aware of what to expect. But the people who are hurt the worst have no idea. They have no idea that some of their basic rights to be treated like a human being will be infringed upon. They have no idea that after driving for 6 to 8 hours for a possible 2-hour visit, they, along with their children, could be subject to a strip search. Searches of their vehicle, dogs sniffing their private parts. They have no idea that after their already taxed dollars will be again taxed 2 more times in order for their loved one to be able to purchase their necessities. In fact, they have no idea that their loved one is going to need to purchase their necessities. Come on. Now, this is only the tip of the iceberg, and I don't want to get too far deep off into complaining. But family members are disenfranchised as a result of incarceration. As time goes on, support systems for prisoners begin to burn out. They disconnect, and then hopelessness sets in on both sides. And in my humble opinion, hope and family are 2 of the most essential elements for positive growth during incarceration. Now, I don't have the numbers to prove this. Hope and family. Sure, I need an education. I need job training. I need life skills. I need to learn how I can build and maintain healthy relationships. I need to understand what responsibility is so I can take it and claim it as my own. I need to understand how I can be a better father. But I also need the hope that I'll be afforded an opportunity to put these things into practice before I'm released. And my family. I need my family most of all. Because family gives us our shape, right? It's sort of like we're baking a cake. Take a bowl of education, right? You take a cup of mental health treatment, right? You let it marinate in some responsibility and accountability. You mix it all together, you put it in the pan, and then you put the pan in the oven. It sits for a prescribed amount of time, and then when you pull it out, you have a cake ready made in the shape of the pan. Now, common sense tells me if there's a crack in the pan of a family structure, what happens is the mix seeps through the pan and it stays stuck in the oven. So the work that's done in here stays in here if a person doesn't have support.